coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Flint Del Sol.
And I'm Shiloh Del Sol.
And welcome to the Great Trans-American Road Trip.
Tune in and break away. Forget our fear of what comes after.
We are trans husbands who decided to leave our roots behind to become permanent nomads, traveling the country in search of community, safety, and belonging. In this podcast, we'll regale you with tales from the road, offer insight gleaned from our experiences, and occasionally chat with the friends we make along the way. Today, we're talking about trans endurance and community, which makes sense for like the literal and metaphorical desert in which we find ourselves as trans people. What do you think of when you think of the desert, Shiloh?
Beauty and nature and sunsets and sunrises and stars and everything trying to kill you.
I was thinking at first like that was such a romantic and beautiful way to look at the desert, because we are desert, like we like the desert quite a bit.
Yeah.
And earlier, right, we were out walking in the desert and talking about how it's not really that the desert is even trying to kill you, it's just that it doesn't care if you die. Right? It's an unforgiving environment in the way that it doesn't provide you anything. Right? There are no resources available to you. It doesn't hold your hand at all through your own survival.
No, you have to be intentional and prepared, and it's safer in numbers. It's very much a metaphor for the current experience of trans people in the world, and especially in this country.
It really is, right? Like we're recording right now on the 12th. I think we're probably going to be publishing this on the 13th, which will give you an idea of how quick our turnaround usually is. But I think by midweek, if you have an X marker on your passport and you're a U.S. citizen, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for you to leave or enter the country for what feels like no reason at all. There's a level of gaslighting that's happening to the trans community right now that is really unprecedented in I guess, a modern age as a person in the U.S., that it seems like there is a new, fresh horror at every opportunity, and all of our resources are being quietly or loudly, I guess, stripped away from us one at a time. It can be hard to figure out how to live that way. In fact, the two of us have been dark on social media for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been really important for us to take a break from everything happening in the world in order to make sure we can make decisions, not just based in fear, but based in our core knowings, right? Giving our nervous system chances to settle is so important, because being on high alert all the time is not very good for our mental health.
No, we were walking with or I was walking in a grocery store with a friend the other day. She mentioned to me that she thought that being trans should come with a universal basic income right now, like that being trans feels like a full-time job, just existing as a trans person in this country. And it's probably going to be that way for a while. Like, that's why we talk about it being a desert, is that our resources are not being offered to us in the way that they used to be, even as briefly as they were. And it really is going to be relying on community and relying on our own endurance.
It really is. It's a marathon, not a sprint, to find safety. So much of, the break we've been taking the last week has been, okay, have we really gotten to our red hard line in this country? And are there really better options outside of this country? Or can we get our needs met here? And, it's been hard to make that decision, because we're also just like in transition with our house.
Yeah.
Our house is in the shop, and it's going to take like a month to fix it.
Yeah.
Which means staying in environments that are not our homes, that are curated for us and our sensory needs under our control. And just being a trans neurodivergent person, staying in other people's houses can be a lot. And we're so freaking grateful that we have friends that we can stay with. But I think as we've been getting our nervous systems through, deciding if we need to leave the country or not, and through the unpredictability of shifting environments, we've had to go into a little bit of inpatient care mode.
Yeah. Inpatient care mode is a really helpful term that we started when we realized that our nervous systems were fried. We had gotten to the end of our ropes, I guess, right? And knowing that you have a baseline that you can get back to. This is the thing that you do if you feel like you're kind of at your limit. An inpatient care mode means that all you're handling are your basic needs. So you try to keep as little from changing as possible. You make sure that you're on a really strict routine for eating and for resting.
Yeah, at its core, inpatient care mode is about reducing demands, increasing support to get through a temporary burnout so that we can be back to a level of capacity where we can make hard decisions and create things from authentic selves versus a pushing through that isn't sustainable, right? Coming back to living in the desert, metaphorically even, is something that needs to be done really carefully, judiciously.
And ideally, right, like living in a community, even if it's a community system that's way spread out, you're hitting those levels of needing that inpatient care mode at different times. And by allowing yourself to sit in it and really take your time to get back, you're now ready to help somebody else who needs help from you. And I think a lot of time people offer us, right, on this journey, people offer us help when they're not ready, when they haven't taken the time to really care for themselves. And you can overextend. You can offer something before you're ready to offer it. And it's actually less helpful than if you just took care of yourself for a while. Taking care of yourself, slowing down is really the best thing you can do for other people when you realize that you cannot take it all on. You can't go out every weekend helping and then go to work every day and then, deal with your kids at night and you've got all of this on you. You don't have anything else to give. But sometimes the guilt, right, the shame of that can keep you from being realistic about where you're at. And that's how that desert can last a lot longer.
Yeah. And ultimately, we want to get back to what we love, which is visiting our trans community. I'm really excited about our interview today because it's our first interview that we did a few months ago when we set off for a few months to visit trans people on the West Coast. And we got to talk to a non-binary doctor in Las Vegas.
Dr. Archie. We love Dr. Archie very much. In fact, right after this interview, so we're going to listen to the interview here in a second. It's important for everyone to know, as you're listening, that Dr. Archie took us to drag brunch after this. And that was such a beautiful experience of community. It was Dr. Archie, all of their trans friends, hanging out at a drag bar, and then jumping in the pool after. And we really love the space that they've created in the middle of the desert. Their oasis, their trans oasis.
Yeah, we've had this calling for a long time. And it was so scary to do this first interview and to step outside of our comfort zones, to be in someone else's home. And it was really incredible meeting Archie and their entire household. Really reassured me that this is the work that we're meant to be doing. Visiting and seeing all the trans community people are building and the neuroqueer households people are fostering and thriving in as best they can. Everyone contributing what they have.
And so I guess without further ado, let's hear from Dr. Archie. Will you tell us your pronouns?
They, them.
They, them.
They, them pronouns.
Fantastic. And then how long have you been in Las Vegas?
I first moved to Las Vegas after I graduated from undergrad, and I didn't want to work 3 jobs to pay my rent in Southern California. So that was in 2016. I did medical school here. I was in the charter class of UNLV School of Medicine. So like their first ever graduating class, which was pretty cool and special. And then I had to move away for my medical residency training because they didn't offer the training here that I wanted. So I left. And then I came back this last summer.
And do you like living in Las Vegas?
I love living in Vegas. I wanted to come back so badly. This is like the weirdest place to live ever. And when I left for residency, like knowing that I needed to go somewhere else because they didn't offer the kind of training here, I always knew that I wanted to come back because they need us here. Like they need us here. There's a huge community of people and there's no services, like no medical services in general, but also no services for us, like queer trans people, period.
So many people don't understand why I love Vegas so much.
It's so cool.
Like you either get it or you don't, right?
It's It's like the weirdest place. And like politically speaking, it's really, I mean, historically, it's really, really easy to get like laws changed and passed. And so a couple things that we've done, like getting gender identity like written into our state constitution and mandating insurance coverage of gender affirming treatments, like those things in the world of politics were, compared to other states, like very easy to do here. Recently, it's a lot harder because Lombardo is our governor and he keeps just vetoing everything that we put forth. But yeah, it's really special. Nevada and Vegas is really special and very Wild West and weird, and we're under-resourced and barely brand new. Like we've barely been around for like 100-something years. So I don't know. I love it here.
It does still feel a little bit like, like Wild West. Like there's like
Totally.
a saloon around the corner.
Totally.
Like you're going to bust in and okay, so you provide services here specifically, you said almost majority for queer and trans people.
Correct.
How has that changed over the last couple of years?
So my medical training, I really focused on acquiring the skills that I thought that we needed. And so I've kind of always been doing care for queer and trans people as long as I've been in medicine, like beginning in medical school up until now. But once I finished residency last summer, I took 3 months off to sleep. And then in October, I started working at CAN Community Health, which is the practice where I work now. And the patient population there is really like almost entirely queer. So almost all of the people that I see there are queer or queer adjacent. And the few people who aren't are living with HIV or hepatitis C, or just randomly found me for primary care and thought that I was cool, I guess. So
That's what we did. We have at a clinic primary care through like a queer network, and it's great like not having to explain
totally
anything. Like having to do Queer 101 for a doctor is exhausting.
It's a nightmare. I try to do a lot of trainings and education and stuff, and I've kind of been doing that forever, like even in undergrad and then through medical school, just trying to educate the providers and staff. 'Cause it's terrible. It's really terrible. You go into an office and you're like, I'm literally just here for a cold. Like I just want cough medicine, and you're like having to explain this whole backstory and answer weird questions, and it's really bleak. So
what do you want more providers to know?
I want more providers to know that all of this information is available on the internet, and if you want to be an ally to our community, then go and learn it.
Google is free.
Yeah, Google is free. And also that like there are so many providers like me who are out here and want to talk and want to educate and want to do that work so that your patients don't have to. And so if you really consider yourself an ally to our community or want to be connected or want to serve us better, then there's so many opportunities to learn and grow, and you just have to invest the time and energy to do that.
Magic wand, you could change something that providers are doing that's infuriating for queer and trans people. What is it?
One thing would be...
it's not the best magic wand.
It's like a single change thing. I think like just bare minimum, like use people's correct names and pronouns. That's like, I mean, that's like bare minimum, but more broadly than that, I would say avoid the like trans broken arm syndrome, right?
Will you explain what the trans broken arm syndrome is?
So if somebody comes to you and they happen to also be trans, but they're coming to you for something that is absolutely not at all related to them being trans, don't blame their hormones, don't blame their bodies, don't blame their experience on whatever is going on. If somebody's coming to you saying that they're having these symptoms, it probably has nothing to do with the fact that they're on testosterone or estrogen or whatever else they're on, and don't make it about that.
I love that. That's so helpful. That's fantastic.
It's like bare minimum stuff, but here we are.
All right, so I'm going to ask some like more specific trans healthcare questions.
Cool.
Because I know a lot of trans people right now are afraid that, no matter where they are in the country, that they're not going to have access.
Totally.
Is there anything that they can do to better accommodate or facilitate that, right? Like, what can we be doing as individual trans people, if there is anything?
Mm-hmm. I think that community care is everything, and the way that we make it through this in general. And I tell my patients this all the time. Like, everything is terrible right now, and everything has been terrible before, and everything will continue to be terrible in the future. But community is everything, and we only have each other. So think of things, and this is kind of vague in general, but think of things that if you had no resources, what would you be looking for? And if you are a person who can provide that for somebody else, put yourself out there in community spaces offering that resource. So being a little bit intentionally vague, because there's some things that I just can't technically recommend because I'm a practicing physician. But I think you can kind of deduce from there, if you have resource and somebody else does not have resource, really putting yourself out there as somebody who has that resource. There's a lot of like online spaces right now that are available for that. Or like you could reach out to your local queer affirming practice and providers and like ask what's going on locally. Reach out to your local like queer resource centers, see if there's anything available. There's a lot of underground stuff happening right now to protect us and keep us safe and make sure we all have what we need. And so just like put yourself out there, even though it's really scary, because I have a lot of patients who are like maybe not as engaged with the trans community as like maybe they were before, and maybe they kind of fell out, or maybe there was some drama, so they stepped away. But I really encourage everybody to reach back out and re-engage in trans spaces for the sake of supporting each other with the resources that we all do have individually.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that queer infighting
Yeah.
is for a time in which we have
Totally
infinite resources.
Right.
It's like we can start bitching about he, him, lesbians like
Right.
after
Later, not
after
right
the
now.
apocalypse, right?
Totally agree.
I love that because like if we don't all offer what we have,
Yeah.
pool our resources and I'll say it because you are a practicing physician, start to be like a little bit more cool with not super legal shit. Like
Totally.
unless we're not going to get through it. Like we have to be okay with breaking some rules sometimes.
Absolutely. And I think that especially right now, the law, and historically, right? Like the law does not equal morality. Like laws are not based on morals. Laws are based on like maintaining the status quo and the patriarchy and capitalism and white supremacy. And so take that with what you will, like, right? Like do what you got to do.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about your journey as a queer person.
Yeah.
So you're non-binary, question mark?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I had expectations based on
the earrings.
The earrings, right? Okay. So like figuring that out about yourself, what was that like?
I think that I've always been in the like queer trans spaces, and I've always been doing this work. And growing up, I didn't necessarily need to put myself in specific boxes or labels, with the exception of like almost getting expelled from school because I was like dating someone who was trans, and they were telling me that I was a lesbian, and I was like, not quite, but that was in Wisconsin, where I'm from. But I think that I never really had an experience where, because I was very fortunate, I never really had an experience where I had to focus much on labels or identity or any of those things. I think I also was very, very focused on just getting here, to being and attending, to finishing my goals. And I think everybody around me was telling me that I couldn't do it or shouldn't do it or wouldn't do it. And so I always just kind of like identified as like queer, like, which I still do, like very fluid. But I think like my non-binary identity became very apparent to me when I was in residency, which was pretty recently in the world of me. And in the world of me.
That's the memoir right there. I can see you like.
Yes, me with my hand on fist posing, perfect. Black and white still shot. So I was in residency. Everything was terrible because residency is terrible. It's really bad. You're working like 80 hours a week, taking care of the sickest people. I was like intubating babies. Like it's like really bad. And you're so tired and so sad and feel so powerless. And I think in that I was like, man, I'm really sick of this. Like I'm just really sick of these like pronouns, this identity, like it doesn't fit, it doesn't make sense. And I had more and more exposure to people who looked like me and identified as other things. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that is me, that fits, that makes more sense. And I don't know, it just happened and is so amazing and beautiful and lovely. And I'm still figuring out. I'm probably going to be very different in 10 years or 5 years, but that's the whole point.
Well, yeah, if you're not, then that's like a problem.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
The growth, the queerness, the growth in the queerness, that's the same thing. Like you are queerness in your changing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 All right. So I'm like fascinated by this idea that you are at your most intensely like busy, frustrated, like bogged down by like the shit of being, you said a resident? A resident. Yeah. See, I haven't seen as much Grey's Anatomy as like anybody. Okay.
It doesn't make sense even when you're in it. So
It's like when you're listening to British people talk about their school system and they're like, well, I was in primary. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Or therapists. Like, what is a master of social work versus a marriage and family therapy? I don't know. I'm still learning.
I actually know more about that. And I want to go down that rabbit hole with you. But I want to finish this thought or I never will.
Excellent.
Which is, so you're like super, super busy, frustrated, tired, all those things. You'd think that would be the time in which you can't think about identity, in which, you know, you're so focused on other stuff. But for you, it's like a pressure cooker where like you couldn't also have this identity and pronouns that didn't fit.
I think that yes. Just yes. In general, yes to what you said. But also there's a piece of it where it's like when you have 12 hours a week of time that you're not sleeping or working, then you figure out really quickly what your priorities are and what's most important for you and what you need to do to survive, right? And so for some people, those 12 hours are rest, and rest for them looks like being at home, like maintaining their home, doing things like that. And for me, that 12 hours was queer community and like connecting with us, because that is and has always been what fills my cup, like to entirety. It's really important and has always been so important to me, and like is always just the way I find my center and feel better.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Queer community is beautiful. It's everything.
It is. And do you feel like there's a lot of that here?
In Vegas?
In Vegas and also in this like house of queers that you've developed?
Yes. I kind of have created a really beautiful, I've always created beautiful little bubbles for myself where I can just live and exist and spend those 12 hours.
That's the follow-up to the memoir. Beautiful little bubble.
Beautiful little bubble. Yeah, really. It really is. It's magic. And I think it just circles back to the importance of community and trying to reconnect with community and stay in community even when it's really hard sometimes.
Yeah. And I think earlier you were talking about, you know, giving what you can to create that community. And now that you're attending.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. I was going to say resident again, and I was like, that's not right. We were there before.
We were there
now
before.
That you're an attending.
Yes.
You have done that here, right?
Yeah.
So this house that we're in, which has, I think, this Rainforest Cafe collectible.
He's Cha-Cha.
That we need to focus on.
He's a really good boy.
There it is.
If you hold his hand, it's really nice. This finger specifically.
Oh, that is a good finger.
Isn't it a good finger?
This is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life.
It's honestly great. He's the best.
How did that happen? Because are there 6 of you here?
5. I looked at my partner. I was like, how many people? They held up
You have
5
5
fingers.
people in this house.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So it's me and my partner, Gray, who I collected in Sonoma County where I did residency. And they have their person, Lore, who lives with us and is magic and wonderful. And we get to keep with us for hopefully ever and ever. And so we brought them down with us from Sonoma County. And then Hannah and Casey moved in and they're saving to buy a house. And so we get to have them here, which is the best. And then then we have Bobby, who's here right now visiting from Sonoma County. And
I was right.
Our 3 animals. We joke about how many... Oh, wait, 4 animals.
Oh, God.
So we joke about how many souls there are in this house a lot.
It's 10 plus 2.
Plus 2. 12 souls.
There's a dozen souls under this roof.
Yeah.
Behind this pink door.
And you feel it. It's really nice.
You do. Why do you think so many queer people, like, that's the goal? Like, you know, you think about, like, the nuclear family as being... or, like, so many straight people are like, I want 2 kids and a golden retriever. I don't know if that's what they want. I don't talk to them that often. But I know that a lot of queer people, like, that's the end goal. Like, so many of us have that picture of having that crowded table, right? Of having, like, that big, long conference table dinner.
I think being queer can be really lonely. Like, growing up queer in Wisconsin, for example, it's lonely and sad, and you don't see yourself in the people around you necessarily. And I think you don't get seen for who you are necessarily, which I think is really important as humans to just be seen for who we are, like queer or not. Like you want to be seen for who you are and what you represent and what you care about. And so I think that it kind of boils down to that, right? Like we just want to be around people who see us for who we are.
That's so beautiful. I feel like I want to stop doing this and you take over this whole project.
No.
No?
That sounds
That sounds
terrible.
terrible?
That's a lot of like stranger communication.
It
which
is quite a lot. You're a natural. I think as a physician, you kind of have to figure out how to create that intimacy with someone really quickly, right? Because you're asking them to share some really personal shit with you really fast.
Personal.
How do you do that?
I don't really know, honestly. I think I just ask. Like, I think I just ask, and I think that I have a genuine concern and curiosity. And like the whole reason I became a doctor was so that I could like do this and just have this knowledge that is missing in our community that otherwise we don't have. And so like if my goal is to learn all this stuff and then bring it back and share it with us so that we can make the best decisions for our bodies and our futures and our families and our goals and our communities, then it's pretty easy to talk to people about it. Cause I'm like, that's my whole point. I'm here to tell you what I know so that we can make decisions together for you.
That's so sweet.
It's the best.
I feel like every time you talk, I'm just like, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
All right. So the future of specifically trans healthcare in this country, it's not looking like amazing right now.
Yeah.
If we're trying to figure out what we can do collectively for trans healthcare, we've talked about like being in community, right? And doing what we can for each other, even when it's iffy in terms of, yeah. What about like physicians or any other healthcare providers that are like feeling afraid of offering healthcare to trans people? Is there anything we can do about that?
Like we as community or we as providers?
I don't know. I feel like maybe just the two of us.
Just the two of us. As a physician, I encourage all other providers, physician, nurse practitioners, PAs, naturopaths, like everybody, like traditional medicine, like practitioners, herbalists, we all have a role here and a responsibility. And right now, so many people are backing out of providing care, and it's terrible. Like it makes me want to cry even thinking about it. But
are you a hugger?
I am a hugger. Thanks. So many people are backing out and just like leaving us behind. And you, like so many of us in the health field, like that's not like who we are, right? Like we're here because we care about people and like want to help. And so do it. Like now is the time. Like show up and advocate on a legislative level, like advocate with politics, advocate for your patients. Like I recently went to court with a patient and was there, I guess, expert witness, but it was really just us. We didn't have a lawyer because who has money for a lawyer? But we like went and advocated and fought their insurance to pay for their surgery that their insurance wouldn't pay. So like do stuff like that. Show up for your community. There's so many things that we can do, and you can volunteer your time if your organization isn't letting you do what you want to do. Like I created a practice to be able to continue prescribing HRT for my patients on weekends, right? So there's so many things that we can do, and we're some of the most privileged people in the world, and like as healthcare practitioners in the United States, like that's crazy. The amount of power that we have is crazy, and so use it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Again, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a second, or are you doing okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're right near the end.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel like you haven't had the space to talk about that you would love to?
I think like elaborating a little bit on what I have done personally here.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of national conferences. Like most recently, I went to the National Transgender Health Summit, and a big concern of a lot of people there is like, well, my organization isn't letting me prescribe hormones for trans people, or my organization isn't accepting trans patients, or I'm afraid that Medicaid cuts are going to happen and are going to ban trans care. And so like, what do I do? And what I've done, because my organization did ban me from prescribing hormone therapy to my trans patients, not my cis patients, mind you. I'm still perfectly, absolutely allowed to prescribe their hormone therapy, but my trans patients, I'm not allowed to because of threats to federal funding, right? I really did. I created a private practice. I have all of my patients who I see in person for their primary care and regular health care, but happen to also need hormones for gender affirming hormone therapy. They contact me directly and opt in to continue care with me. Outside of that, I've created a literal practice. Like I have my business licenses, I have malpractice insurance, I did all these things, and you can do that too. Like as providers, you absolutely can do that too. I'm here if anybody needs resources or needs advice on how to do that in your area. I've connected with legal professionals and like lawyers and doctors and people from all over the country who are dealing with the same issue. And I have a lot of resources now. So do it, dudes. Like just do it and do the thing. And yeah, I think that's my last spiel.
I love that. Well, I mean, it's your last spiel, but I'm going to say more things.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it. Because that concept of pre-compliance.
Yeah.
Of so many groups.
Yeah.
Worrying that something might happen.
Yeah.
So they're going to take things away now so they don't get in trouble later.
It's terrible.
It's like the most infuriating part of all of this, isn't it? Doesn't it? Like, don't you get this like little angry little fire inside? Because like well,
and I think especially when it's a lot of these groups are groups of people who are capitalizing on the trans experience, right? And so especially like Pride Month just ended, but like if you're going to use trans people in your advertisement and you're going to like say like, oh, like we are accepting of everybody, and like if you're going to say that, then do it. Like you don't get to be the problem and capitalize on us. So yeah, that really makes me very upset. It's like, it's really bad. Like, so, and like, you don't need to pre-comply. Like, yes, absolutely. Losing your federal funding is terrible and totally possible and a very realistic risk. And sure, maybe that would totally decimate your entire company, but would it really?
Would it?
Would it really?
Would it?
Would it? And the answer, like for almost every situation, is no. And the other answer is, even if your funding was withheld, would you get it ultimately? And the answer so far has been yes. So stop pre-complying. It's terrible and literally like devastating people's lives. Like it's not a benign action to stop providing care. Gender affirming healthcare is so important for so many people. And yeah.
Beautiful. What a great place to end. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you inviting us into your home and feeding us vegan-ish frittata.
Vegan-ish frittata.
That's the end of our interview with Archie, and their information will be tagged in the show notes and on Instagram in case you want to reach out to them.
Absolutely. And to the people out there who feel like they don't have any choices, don't have anywhere they can be, we see you, we love you, and we want to come visit. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to support our work, the easiest way is to become a paid subscriber on Substack, or else donate to us directly at delsoulimpact.com. You can follow along with us on our journey on Instagram and TikTok at JustFlintIsFine. And remember, when we feel like we can't be anywhere, we're still everywhere.
Finally see what we've always known, so let